Okay, guys, so we are looking at solving by elimination. And remember, the goal of elimination is for us to get rid of either the x's or the y's. It doesn't matter which one we want to get rid of. That's what we're trying to do. So when I look at these equations here, if I look at negative 4x minus 10y equals negative 2, and negative 5x minus 3y equals negative 31, the thing that I notice is that the x's aren't opposite or the y's are not opposite. So in this case, because that's the case, I need to multiply both equations by something that makes either the x's opposite or the y's opposite. So just because I see x, I'm going to just try to make the x's opposite each other. So I'm looking at negative 4 and negative 5, and I'm thinking to myself, what does 4 and 5 both go into? And I'm like, hey, they both go into 20. So if I could make one of these a negative 20 or a positive 20, then I can get those to be opposite each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this equation, that top one, and I'm going to try to make that negative 4 into a positive 20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the entire equation by negative 5. Okay? So I'm taking negative 5 through the entire parentheses. So what I get is I get 20x plus 50y equals positive 10. Now, I have a positive 20, so what happens is in order for me to cancel it out, this negative 5 needs to become a negative 20. So how do I do that? I'm going to multiply this equation by 4, and I'm going to take 4 through all of them. So I get negative 20x plus negative 12y, and that's going to equal negative 124. So the first step is to make either the x's or the y's opposite each other. In this case, we made the x's opposite by making one a positive 20 and one a negative 20. So this is where we're at. Second step now is we want to add the two equations together. So the x's cancel. I have 50 minus 12 is 38y, and that's going to equal negative 114. That creates my new equation. So then we're going to work on the next one then. So I have 38y equals negative 114. I'm going to divide both sides by 38. So when I do that, I get y to equal negative 3. Okay? So now that I know y equals negative 3, I'm going to substitute it into any of these two equations to find out what x is. So I'm going to take negative 4x minus 10y equals negative 2. And I'm going to put negative 3 in place of y. So I have minus 10 times negative 3 equals negative 2. So I have negative 4x. So it looks like I got negative 4x plus 30 equals negative 2. I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. So I have negative 4x equals negative 32. X is positive 8. So if I plug into the bottom equation, it should work out. So if I do negative 5 times 8 minus 3 times negative 3, it should equal negative 31. Negative 40 plus 9 equals negative 31. So that checks out. I'm going to do one more with you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this one. Okay? And I'm going to try to make the x's or the y's opposite each other. So in this case, because I did x's last time, let's work at the y's. So if I look at 7 and 2, we'll do 7, 2 both go into 14. So I need to make one of them negative 14 and the other one positive 14. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by negative 2, because that's going to make that negative 7 into a positive 14. And I'm going to multiply this bottom one by positive 7. So when I do that, I get negative 10x plus 14y equals positive 36. I'm going to take negative 7 through, so I get negative 84x minus 14y equals negative 224. So if I add down, I get negative 94x equals negative 188. Okay, so I've gotten both of these steps done. Now we're going to solve our new equation by dividing by negative 94. And I get x to be positive 2. Okay, so those steps are done. Now I'm going to plug x equals 2 into one of these two equations. Doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to do 5 times 2 minus 7y equals negative 18. So I have 10 minus 7y equals negative 18. I'm going to subtract 10. And I get negative 7y equals negative 28. And then divide both sides by negative 7. You guys get y to equal positive 4. So if I plug 2 and 4 into this equation, if I do negative 12 times 2 minus 2 times 4, should equal negative 32. So I got negative 24 minus 8 equals negative 32. And it checks out. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to try 3. And when you're done, just let me know. Okay?